What up, guys? Welcome to the Son of Wonder. There's quite a variety of movies coming out in 2025, so I'm going to give you my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2025. Alright, guys, so last year, 2024, I felt was a pretty mediocre year for movies in general, at least the ones that I saw. So I'm hoping this year has a lot more, really high highs, and if they have some really low lows, I want them to at least be funny so I can laugh at them. But these are my top 10 most anticipated films, ones that I am either really excited for, curious about, or just generally looking forward to see what they are, which is what curious means. Let's continue. Number 10, Ballerina, in the world of John Wick, or a John Wick story, or however they want to say it. This movie takes place, as I just said, in the universe, like the John Wick universe, and it's about another character played by Ana de Armas, like a girl assassin who's, destroying a bunch of people. That's really it. I love the John Wick franchise. The first 4 John Wicks are awesome. I really would love a John Wick 5, but John Wick 4 in particular I thought was amazing. So this movie naturally is just going to have my curiosity, and having Ana de Armas in an assassin role just by herself sounds pretty interesting, and the trailer looked pretty good, so I'm looking forward to this one. And in a world where they give us so many girl bosses, I hope that this character that Ana de Armas plays is more of like a femme fatale kind of character, or at least something along those lines. Number 9, The Naked Gun. Now this is, at least as I understand it, a sequel, reboot-ish kind of deal of the original Naked Gun movie with Leslie Nielsen as the title character. And so in this one, Liam Neeson is going to be the title character, and I don't know if he's supposed to be Leslie Nielsen's character's son or his successor. I assume something to that effect. But that's really all I need to know. My dad introduced me to the first Naked Gun movie, and I thought it was awesome and hilarious. Of course, Leslie Nielsen is always hysterical in any movie that he's in. So when it comes to this movie, the idea of taking Liam Neeson, who is normally known for, his pretty serious roles, and putting him in just a straight-up comedy movie, or at least what you would expect to be a straight-up comedy movie, the idea of him carrying on that legacy is just such an out-of-the-box, but at the same time still hilarious and interesting idea. So we don't have a trailer or anything like that, but just based off the premise and the concept alone, I kind of love it. Alright, number 8. This one. This one I have some skepticism for. Tron Ares. Now, I don't know if I've said it before on this channel, but I love the Tron movies. I love the first Tron movie, the original one, the old one. And I love the Tron Legacy movie that came out, I believe, in 2010. And Tron Legacy is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. The score for Tron Legacy is amazing. I love the story of exploring the grid with Flynn's son. Flynn, of course, played by Jeff Bridges. And so they're coming out with a new one, and I had been waiting for them to make a sequel to Tron Legacy forever, but apparently it kind of fell through. So this is supposed to be still like a continuation of the Tron universe, but with different characters. But apparently Jeff Bridges is going to be in it, but not seemingly the actor who played his son in the first in Tron Legacy. So that's kind of where my skepticism comes in. Mainly where my skepticism comes in, though, is this is Disney. This is still a Disney-owned property, and they have literally been making it their main mission in life for the last decade to ruin all of their old good stuff in some way. Tarnish their legacy in some respect. So I'm just so worried that this is going to be another one of those instances where they're going to go back to Tron, something that's awesome, 2 movies that are great, and then just mess it all up. On top of that, apparently they're going to be, according to reports, they're going to be in the real world a good bit in the movie, which I think is kind of dumb. In the same way I don't want to watch a Transformers movie to watch the human stories, I don't want to watch a Tron movie to watch the real world. I want to explore the grid more, the digital world with the users and the programs and all that. It's just the vibe of the Tron universe, especially in Legacy, is so freaking cool, and I don't want them to lose any of that. So I really need this one to be good. Alright, number 7, Wicked for Good. Wicked for Good. Now, what's funny is my parents listened to these songs from the original Wicked musical all the time when I was a kid. So I am very familiar with this musical and its existence and the, baseline idea of the story, exploring the backstory of the Wicked Witch of the West from Wizard of Oz. So the idea of a Wicked, and I like musicals too, so the idea of a Wicked movie would have been very intriguing to me, and I would have been very excited about it, but then I saw that they cast like Ariana Grande as Galinda, and then Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West, and then I was like, that doesn't seem right, and then I saw the trailer for the first one, and I was like, oh no, this is not good at all. Then the movie comes out, and I hear that it's actually really good, so I see the movie, and it actually was really good. I was very surprised. I thought the trailers for the first one were horrible. They marketed the movie horribly, and in all honesty, Ariana Grande ended up being the best part of the first Wicked film. So I actually really enjoyed it, so I'm actually looking forward to the sequel coming out this year, and I hope that they can stay true to the musical and the play. I haven't seen the play, but my mom has, so I know some of it from her and what she had seen. But I am excited for this sequel, and I hope it stays true to what the good things about the original. The acting was really good in the original, and the story was pretty compelling as like a turn to the dark side sort of story for the Wicked Witch of the West. And I hope they land this one well, because I would actually like the first one, and I want to see the story continued in a good way and then not mess it up at the end. So we'll see what happens. All right, number 6. Fantastic Four. The fourth attempt at making a Fantastic Four movie that's good. If you guys don't know, I think in like the 90s, they made a Fantastic Four movie and it was never released to the public because it was so terrible. So, this franchise, these characters, not just that the MCU has not had the best streak lately. If anything will dictate whether or not the MCU has really changed and moved away from the politics and gone back to gear with good superhero stories, classic superhero stories, this movie will be the indication. I hate the idea of doing the Shia LaBeouf version of Silver Surfer before Norrin Radd. That is the dumbest idea ever. And I don't at all like Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. Like, even a little bit. So already I am very skeptical, and then you have the MCU's not hot streak, and then you have, I don't know. I want to be excited for this one, but this is more like just straight anticipation. Like, I need this one to be good. We have not had a really good Fantastic Four movie. I suppose Rise of the Silver Surfer and the one before that, the 2005 Fantastic Four before that, were watchable to some extent, but certainly not what it could be. So there's a lot of movies that need to be good this year, but this one definitely needs to be good this year to redeem this franchise and give these awesome heroes, Marvel's first family, the proper film. All right, number 5, Michael. Now, this is it, straight to the point. This is a biopic about Michael Jackson. That's really all you need to know. In the biopic, though, Jafar Jackson, Michael Jackson's nephew, is going to play Michael Jackson, and his singing voice sounds just like Michael's. It's kind of insane. So, I love Michael Jackson. He's my favorite musical artist, and, my dad raised me to listen to Michael Jackson music, so naturally I'm going to be interested in a biopic about him. And it's being directed by the same guy who directed the Equalizer movies with Denzel Washington. So that's very interesting to go from just a straight action franchise to a biopic. But I'm very curious to see what he's going to bring to the table. And if they can do this right and tell Michael's story in the best way possible, this has a chance to be one of the best biopics, if not the best biopic about like a music person, an artist, ever made. So it has to be good. I really want it to be good. I don't want them to, crap all over Michael's legacy. I want them to tell his story in the most honest way they possibly can and let it be as compelling as it possibly can be. All right, Karate Kid Legends is number 4. Now, my history with the Karate Kid franchise, when I was a kid, I watched the Jaden Smith remake, the one they did with Jackie Chan, quite a lot as a kid. I didn't watch the original as much, but, I've watched them 2 years ago or something like that. almost. And I really like the first one. Obviously, the first one's a classic, and, you know, it's just classic kid finds mentor, helps defeat bad guys. Straightforward story, and it's awesome. Cobra Kai. When I watched Cobra Kai, that was an experience. Because what it did was, it basically did what so many other franchises, like, and the companies that own them fail to do, which is give each character a phenomenal, like, payoff and continuation for their stories, or their respective stories, from the original films, and give it to the audience in just a really cool, like, neat kind of way, especially with Johnny Lawrence. Like, his whole redemption arc has been awesome. So then they announced that they were going to be merging the original Karate Kid universe with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan's Karate Kid universe. Put them together and make a movie with the two of them. And that sounded awesome, and the first trailer dropped, and yeah, I am totally down for this movie. Seeing Jackie Chan as Mr. Han and Ralph Macchio as Daniel LaRusso together, talking to each other, training a new Karate Kid, is just such a cool idea. And the trailer was so good because it looked like it was going to be serious. Like, Cobra Kai is naturally very comedic, and it's awesome because of that. But this movie, at least based on the trailer, is going to have a more serious tone, and I'm totally down for that, and I cannot wait for this movie. Alright, number 3. This one's a bit more out of the box. King of Kings. Now, this is an animated movie, produced and made by Angel Studios, and they have made some awesome stuff. In my top 5 movie list of 2024, Bonhoeffer was in the top 5. Biopic about this guy in World War II who was a pastor slash spy slash assassin. Try saying that 5 times fast. And it was phenomenal. It was such a good movie. And so they're making this animated movie this year, and this one is insanely intriguing to me because it's based off a book that Charles Dickens wrote for his kids that was only released to the public like decades after he died. And it's a book about Charles Dickens telling his children the story of Jesus Christ. But in the perspective of like Charles Dickens telling the story to his children. So they're making a movie based off this book, and it's an animated movie, and it's got an all-star cast. Oscar Isaac is Jesus. Pierce Brosnan is Pontius Pilate. Ben Kingsley is Caiaphas the Pharisee. Kenneth Branagh is Charles Dickens. And Forrest Whitaker is Peter. Like, all-star cast. Mark Hamill is King Herod. Like, when I saw that they were making this movie based off this idea with this cast, this voice cast, I thought that was like one of the best ideas. And when I saw the trailer, I loved it even more. Even though like the animation style I don't love, but the story and the way they depicted it in the trailer and what like the kind of themes they were getting at, as a believer, it definitely resonated with me. Like the idea of a father telling his son about Jesus, and like the son being grateful for his father telling him this story. Like, and it's like a little boy, but like he still understands the true meaning of it all. At least it seems that way from the trailer. So I cannot wait for this movie, and if they can do it just right, this could be probably one of the best animated movies ever made. I don't think that's an exaggeration to say, just based off the story alone. Alright, number 2, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. This movie needs no introduction. After that trailer, and even before, I am hooked. I don't think that this franchise has missed, certainly not in a significant way for me to be, less excited about a new one. Even though what's considered the worst of the franchise is still considered good, Mission Impossible 2. So this movie, man, there's so much, so many stories and plot points they've built up into this one film from all the previous movies, and if they can pay it off just right, it could be so freaking cool. And obviously the action you're always expecting to be awesome, and this is a direct follow-up to obviously Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning from 2023, and I liked that one a lot too, and especially Haley Atwell's character, Grace. I thought she was great. So her being in this one. And again, like I said, all of these different plot points coming together and possibly calling back to even further back in the franchise. And seeing if one of my theories is correct. If you've seen some of my previous videos about the Mission Impossible franchise, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I am so excited for this movie, and I'm so excited to see how Tom Cruise will almost destroy himself next. We'll be this close, but not, because he's awesome. So I'm excited to see what a crazy stunt he pulls off. And yeah, this one, super duper looking forward to. But my number one most anticipated movie of this year, not excited, anticipated, Superman. This probably comes as a surprise to absolutely no one. Now, I had recorded a whole video talking about the trailer and what I thought about it and different details here and there, and I just ended up never releasing it because of whatever. But what did I think about the trailer? I loved a good bit of it, but there was some stuff I'm skeptical about. And the DC train has been so crazy in the past, 2 years. Ever since ever since Black Adam came out, said we were getting Henry Cavill back as Superman, and then that turned out not to be true within a month, and then James Gunn took over, and then he said we're doing all this new stuff, and then the rest of the old stuff came out, and it all bombed, and then James Gunn, there's still nothing really comes out, and then he comes out with Creature Commandos, which I haven't seen. I've heard it's kind of weird. It looks weird, but weird, maybe not in a good way. And then we have the Superman trailer. So DC needs to get their crap together. They delayed the Battinson Part 2 to 2027, so that feels like it's never gonna come out. We still don't know who the villain is for that movie. It's just all of the DC craziness is insane. So when I say that there is a lot riding on this movie, that is the understatement of the century. There is everything riding on this movie. Because not only will it determine whether or not general audiences are going to go see not a superhero movie, the superhero movie, because Superman is kind of the face of superheroes. I think Batman's the best, but Superman's the face of the superhero, just the superhero anything, the superhero in general. And so regarding the fact that so many superheroes, as of recently, all of the DC ones especially, bombed and failed to resonate with general audiences, I'm going to be very curious to see how this one does. And, I said anticipated because I'm actually more excited, I would say, for Mission Impossible. I'm more excited for that movie. I'm more confident that that movie's going to be good. And it's going to be awesome. Because their track record's been great. DC's track record is literally all over the place. I do like a lot of the DCEU movies. There's some I don't like. It's more so the management of it all that has just absolutely sucked. So, and then James Gunn's wacky and confusing decisions when it comes to what characters are going to be in the universe, what characters aren't going to be in the universe, what characters he's starting out with, what is canon and what is not, and blah, 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 blah. They don't have a Batman yet. Big mistake. Big mistake. So, this is my most anticipated movie because it has the most writing on it. It has the most to lose. Because if this movie's not good, good enough in this case isn't going to be good enough. This movie has to be great. And if it's not, that might deter audiences, and that might just kind of pop the bubble of the superhero genre in general officially. And in terms of just Hollywood as well, they've been going completely downhill. And so if there's any movie that they need to make good, really good, this needs to be the one, because if they don't, they're in trouble. They're already in trouble, but if anything's gonna save it, it's this movie. And yeah, this movie definitely needs to be awesome. But that is my most anticipated movie of the year, because it kind of has to be. I am, Marvel, DC, Star Wars are my top 3 universes ever. Nothing will ever top those. I love them all equally. And so this is probably the most important movie that's coming out of the respective universes, from the respective universes. This is probably the most important movie to come out of those in a long time. So we will hope and we will pray. I think this movie actually needs to be amazing more than Fantastic Four does. But that is my most anticipated list of 2025. I hope all of these movies are fantastic. I hope when I see them all, I can give them all glowing reviews. But according to the past couple years, that's not exactly been the case, so I hope this year proves different, especially. But thank you guys for watching. Have a very blessed day. May the Lord be with you. May the Force be with you. Goodbye. And that's a wrap.